First, we'll be looking at the overview. The British usually rush through mid right through these doors, or they will most likely flank through these doors to get an advantage, or they'll flank completely around, which is not that good of an idea, or they'll camp at this little spot. The Polish, however, will push through here and usually sit right there on the side to guard that side. They'll go through the flank to try and beat the British and take that little area. Or they'll flank from the side and try to get a shot off an unknowing Brit. Or sometimes, very rarely, people will do really wide flanks and flank from the borders of the map, which usually ends very badly for them. The main area of fighting will take place in the middle of the map, which just so happens to have the most cover. The Brits will usually rush through the main entrance into mid to try and take control, or they'll flank through the side to try and take a flank control, or they'll push through the side into the middle to do a surprise. But the Polish will either do the exact same thing and they'll meet inside the building, or they'll flank behind the Brits to take them out, or they'll flank through the little barn area to get to this side and help any Polish that have pushed through to take out these British. It usually succeeds for the Polish, which is very nice. Or they will head out to the middle and will have an either all-out brawl or will fire at the enemy, and it usually ends up in a kind of tie, kind of 50-50. No one really knows how to predict what will happen. The Polish rarely take this position due to it not giving much of an advantage, considering the UK can take them by surprise, which is not very useful. Only a few people really guard this side, so the UK can usually just take it really easily and get an easy flank behind the Polish. And due to Polish usually sitting here while reloading, the British can fire upon them or rush them, and it usually takes them out pretty easily, which is good. After that, the UK can swiftly go from behind and take the Polish out that are in middle, which is very useful because then it gives them central map control, which everyone knows is the best to have. But the Polish do usually flank from the right to take this little Farmstead area, and due to not many British coming through here, and the partisans usually having better weapons, it's kind of an all-out brawl at the beginning, but the partisans usually win this engagement due to, of course, having better weapons. It can sometimes be in the British favor if they, say, push through the side, but usually that doesn't happen, so the Polish will pull out, and they'll go back into the middle, but then the UK will come out, and then they kind of brawl again, and it's kind of 50-50 there. Another commonly used tactic is the use of Sapper's cheval de frise, which helps them build over the wall and gives them a good spot to either shoot, flank through the side, take middle, etc. It's just very good all around to use, and it usually takes out the Polish pretty fast because they don't expect it, and they're kind of just sitting ducks at that point. Although, I would argue, the Polish cheval de frise on the other side is a lot more, I guess I'd say useful than the UK's, due to them getting pretty much full central control. And they can get into the side easier, take out the guys over there, or flank through the left. Another commonly used cheval de frise placement for the Sapper is the side for the Polish when they're going to the stead area. It gives them full roof control and pretty much full area control due to them having such good sight. They're able to shoot over the wall, shoot behind the wall, like inside that area. It really just takes out any kind of British that's sitting there. And they're also able to reach right there, which is very useful because it helps them take out some British that aren't paying attention. And sometimes they can even get over to here and take out the flanking British, which is also very useful due to British usually doing that kind of flank. So the roof is pretty useful. Pros. It's close quarter combat, which means rounds usually end pretty fast, which is nice because that means you get to play the map more times, and this is a pretty good map. You also get to strategize pretty well because of all the different flanking spots you can do and all of the different hiding spots there is, and building spots for Sapper, which is also very useful because it can be very helpful in the very midst of battle. Now, let's move on to the cons. To start with, let's go with camping. There are 3 different spots you can camp on the 2nd story floor. Let's start with the least used camping spot. To start with, the Polish usually put crates right here, or barricades, or the little soup barrels, and will sit right here. The British have to come up here to try and attack, but before the British can successfully launch an attack, the Polish usually kill them before they can really do anything, which kind of makes the British in a hard stuck place. Next is the second room in. So usually the Polish will place down a barricade right here, or a crate again, and then they'll have this whole area down with just either saps or militiamen or just regular line infantry or light infantry, and the British will have to try and come in to attack the barricade. But because they have guns, they will shoot the British's heads, which takes them out, and the British have a hard time getting through. Now the final room, which is the most camped in room. Usually they'll place a barricade right here and have about 1 to 2 saps on either side that is constantly building the barricade to make sure it doesn't get destroyed. Next thing they'll do is they'll have a gunner right here, which usually shoots over to hit the British's heads, which kills them, or they'll have one on the opposite side, or the final place, the part where this picture was taken, they'll have one guy right there shooting the head. So, as you can see, this room is really hard to get through. Usually, it takes about 5 British dead before they can successfully siege the room. Next is the flanks. So, the British will usually go over here, and by the time they make it over here, the Polish are already pushed out down here with either a rifle or a musket, and they are crouched aiming and usually get fired upon, and we usually see 1 to 2 deaths right here at the beginning of each round. Very unfortunate. The Polish will also build up onto this roof, which is very helpful for them, and it gives them a good advantage as shown earlier, and they will be able to shoot over this little wall, so any British right here and right here are most likely going to die, because they will be shot, or meleeed, or just all of the above, really. Even the British over here will get shot by the guys on the roof, which is very unfortunate and very sad, and it's just very hard for the British to do much in this position. Another useful thing for the Polish on this map is the cheval de frise placed right here. The Polish will climb over it, or they will stand on it and use it to fire at the British from this side. It gives them a very good central control, which allows them to fire upon anyone there, and pretty much everywhere over here is just controlled by the Polish. But if the British are hiding right here along this wall, there is a slight chance they will be A-okay. However, if no one on Polish decides to go Sapper, they will usually push through this little area and sit right here. The British will come through and try to flank through this little area right here. When they're crossing, the Polish usually fire at them and take about 1 to 3, which is very unfortunate, but the ones that do make it through will come on through this door and will take out some of the Polish. This is one of my favorite strats because it's so useful and I get to bait my teammates, so it's pretty nice. But if the Polish decide they're going to go through here and go upstairs, there's a slight chance that you might run into them and they'll kill you, or you'll just accidentally let them take the 2nd floor, or they'll push through and you'll die. There's just so much that could go wrong for the British here because the Polish just have such an advantage on this map. Last but not least, let's talk about the map size. So the British spawn over in this area, and the Polish spawn roughly in this area. As you can see, the British can walk around this whole border without, sometimes at least, not getting spotted. And the same goes for the Polish. Because this map area is so huge, it can tend for games to last longer than they should, because either 1, the British will go camp in this area on the side of the map, which makes the Polish have to push them, which is very unfortunate, and it takes the time. It takes a lot of time, actually, for the match to end. They'll either camp spawn, I didn't put this part in, but they can camp spawn, and that's really the most annoying. Or the Polish will do the exact same, but a little bit on their side more, rather than on the British side. Not only is camping on the outskirts a problem, but if someone has, let's say, a rifle, a light musket, a knife, anything that gives you an extra stud walk speed, they can just run outside the map perimeter for so long because you're not able to catch up to them. And most of the time, nobody really has good enough to aim to actually hit them, which is very unfortunate. It makes the map end really fast, and it's really annoying, and it just no one likes it. Just don't round delay unless you actually have a chance, please. So as you can see, this map is very Polish-sided. It's very hard for the British to really do much, and the Polish usually win. That's why you usually see that happen. And although it's one-sided, it's still fun to play on this map. It's a very nice map, and although it's got a lot of issues, it's still a good map. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to have fun. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you liked it and want to see more, because this is the first episode of the series. So yeah, goodbye.